So here we have the Osprey BMX Scooter, and today I'm going to show you how to put it together out of the box. So inside there'll be a bag which has all you need to build the scooter. There's a kickstand in there, there's a tool, there's an Allen key, there's the manual, and there's also the handlebar pad. Leave those out. Next up, what we need to do is remove all the packaging and the zip ties. So you'll need some scissors or some wire snips, and you need to cut through all these zip ties and ping off all this. So we'll do that now. Okay, so once we've got all the packaging off, we'll then start to assemble. So first up, we want to put the handlebars on. What you'll want to do is find some way of resting this on something just so you can stop it from moving over. For your handlebars, to put these on, first of all you'll need the Allen key, and you'll need to undo these bolts one by one. So you'll want to do one full twist of each of these, and then this is the way it will go. So you'll take off the plastic cover, and then this is a wedge clamp system. So as you do this bolt up, it will pull this wedge up, and that will wedge inside here and keep that nice and tight. So this should be loose. You can pop this in here. It should just thread in there. First of all, we're going to tighten this back up just to keep that in place whilst we do this. So we'll do these back up again. We'll give them one twist each. So use your spanner that's included in there. You can probably do some of it using your fingers first, and then the rest with the spanner. So you want to try and make this as straight as possible, so the handlebars should line up with the fork. We can adjust that later anyway, but you might as well try and do as good a job now. Make sure there's still free movement there. So that's the handlebars. So next up, we're going to fix the brakes. We're going to attach the brake cables to the brake levers, and then after that we'll adjust the brakes and add the front wheel and do the same on the rear. So first of all, these brake cables are loose, so we need to attach them into the levers to make sure that's connected. So they're a bit tangled up, we just need to take them out. This is your front brake, and this goes in the right hand side handle, and this is your rear brake cable which goes through the frame, and this goes in your left hand side cable. Put the rear one just out of the way until we need that. And then what we need to do is we need to create some slack in the cable so that we can pull this out, and then we can attach it into the lever here. So in order to do that, these V-brakes have a sort of quick release system. This is a weather protection boot which stops rain getting into the wire, so we'll pull that off. And then if you pull in each side here, and then you'll see pull this out, and that will deattach the whole brake. And then what you can do is you can pull some slack out here, which will be ready to put it into the brake lever. So on the brake lever here, you'll notice if you look at the rear, you've got a hole here, and this is where the lever comes in, and that's where your brake cable is going to go, and then the cable is going to run through this and through into the housing. So what we first need to do is we need to align these holes so that the cable can slot in easily. So we just need to rotate both of those until you can see a straight line through here. And then we'll get the end cap of the brake cable, and that will slot into here, and we'll pull the cable through. So it should just slot in like that. And then you can see that as you pull the lever, it should affect that. We're just going to do exactly the same as we did with the front brake here. So on the lever, we'll adjust these so there's a straight line through for the cable, and then we'll pop the end of the cable into here, pull it through. And then you can just adjust those off. So next up, we're going to adjust the brakes. We're going to start with the rear because the wheels are already in. And what we're going to do is we're going to tighten up the cable with this bolt so that the arms sit where they should. And then we're also going to adjust the brake pads so they contact the rims properly. So first of all, we want to pull all this slack out of this wire, out of the cable. So we're going to pull this in, and then we're going to tighten this bolt up. You want to pull it all the way in, and then you want to let go a little bit, just so you've got a little bit of room on either side for those brake pads to contact the rim. Once we've tightened up that, then you'll see that you can pull the brake lever and this should affect the arms. So next we need to adjust the brake pads so they contact the rims properly, make sure they are in the right place, and then we'll do the final adjustment of here. So next we need to adjust the brake pads and how they contact the rim. You can see that this one is slightly at an angle and it's also touching the tyre, which is no good. We want it to firmly contact the rim and it needs to be straight and line up with the curve of the rim. So we need our Allen key. First of all, we'll just undo this a little bit. And then what you can do is you can get your brake pad aligned so it's in the right place. And then once you've done that, you can just tighten this back up again. And then we'll repeat the same step on the other side. So once we've adjusted these brake pads and they contact the rim nicely, we just need to check that the brake actually works and adjust this. So at the moment, there's too much slack in this wire, so we just need to tighten it up a little bit more. So we'll undo this bolt. And we'll pull this wire through. So what you can do is you can pull on either side of here and you can make sure the brake pads contact the rim on both sides, and that will be your wire tight. And then you'll just want to let some slack out there so that there's a bit of room on either side so the brake isn't applied whilst you're moving. And then we'll tighten this bolt back up. And then what you've got now is you've got your brake lever. When you pull it, you've got the brake pads contacting the rim when your brake lever is around here, which is about perfect. The only problem now is that one of the pads is contacting the rim more than the other, so we need to adjust here. For this, we'll need a screwdriver, and you can see there's some screws here which affect the spring tension, and what you'll need to do is see this one is contacting the rim too much so that this wheel won't move freely. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to tighten this, and what that will do is make the spring tighter on this side and it will pull this away. So that's worked for this. It's made sure that this now pulls out. If it doesn't quite work, then you've got this screw on the other side which also affects this spring. So if tightening this doesn't work, you might want to loosen this one on this side, and you can adjust both of these to get it fine-tuned. So now what we've got is the wheel will spin and the brake works. So we have that, and we'll repeat that on the front wheel. So next we're going to put the front wheel in, and then we're going to adjust the front brake. So what we need to do on this one here, these brake pads are actually vertical, so we need to just level them out so we can actually get this wheel in. So just like we did adjust on the rear, I'm just going to undo this bolt and we're just going to turn those round. Once we've done that with the brake pads, then we'll just release this so that we can get the wheel in. So we'll pull that out again, get those brake pads away. And then we'll take the front wheel, we'll get the protective covers off. And then we need to undo these nuts. We can do this by hand. Just undo them most of the way to the end so you've got a bit of room on either side to get it into the dropout. That's ready to go. We'll just pop this plastic protective cover off. And then with your tyre, you need to make sure it goes the right way. So on your tread here, you've got directional tread. So this should go towards the front. So we'll make sure that's towards the front. And then when we slot this wheel in, you've got the nut, and then you've also got these little tabs which slot in here. So the tab and the nut needs to be on the outside. So that's in, and now what we need to do is tighten up these nuts. These tabs slot into some holes here, so we can slot those in and then tighten up these nuts. And just do them finger tight for now, and then we'll tighten them up properly after. Same applies on this side. Once that's in, we'll then get our spanner and we'll do these bolts up until they're properly tight. So once the wheel's in, then we need to adjust the brake. So we'll do this quick release part back up again. And as you can see now, it's the same as on the rear. We need to first do this cable up, and we need to pull that through tight, and then we need to adjust the brake pads. So to adjust this, I'm just going to hold the arms, I'll undo this, and then we'll pull this cable nice and tight through, and we'll do that up. And then we need to adjust the brake pads. Just like the rear, we'll undo the bolt on the rear, we'll put the brake pad where it should be aligned on the rim, and then we'll do them up tight. Same on both sides. And then you can see on this one again, we've got the same situation where one is touching the rim and one is moving. So we need to adjust these screws again. You can see that this one's quite far out, so that's probably the reason. Once you've done that, now you should have your wheel that turns and your brake which works. So we're happy with that. So once you've been riding your scooter for a while, you might find that the brake cable stretches, and when you pull the lever, it actually nearly reaches the bar before your brake is applied. So what you can do is you can actually do an on-the-fly adjustment using this barrel adjuster. And what you need to do is you just need to unwind it anti-clockwise and just keep going until you have the desired brake pull, and then you can lock it off using this. So we've done both the brakes, we've put the front wheel in, we've put the handlebars on, and now the last thing we need to do is fit the kickstand, and then we'll do a once over just to check everything. So probably easiest just to lay the scooter down whilst you do this, and then there's two bolts here which will attach the kickstand by. So we just need to undo these. And then pop your kickstand on, and then we'll do these bolts back up. Another part of the setup is the brake lever angle, and this is probably best done actually with the scooter on the floor and you stood above it. And what you want to do is you can just undo this bolt, and then the lever will move, and you just want to get the position which feels most comfortable for you when braking. And then once you've got that position and you've tried it out a few times, you just tighten this up. So once we've done that, now we can stand the scooter up, get rid of our stands, and there's the scooter stood up. So the last thing we need to do is we'll put on the handlebar pad. So this just undo the Velcro, pop the pad around here, and do that back up. And then we'll give the scooter a once over just before you ride it. So you want to make sure your stem bolts are done up tight, this bolt's done up tight, check that your brakes are functioning, and make sure you've got some air in your tyres. So the front tyre goes up to 45 psi and the rear to 36, and then you're all set and good to go. Thanks very much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy your Osprey BMX scooter.